Hi, thanks for stopping by Intel Building. I'm Alex, and today's quick tip is all about cleaning your piece to prepare it for the mirroring process. As we know, mirroring is a chemical reaction, and it's very important that you're starting with a very clean piece. Now, the way that you clean it and which cleaner you use depends on the type of piece you're mirroring. We'll be covering how to clean the inside of a blown glass container, a piece of flat sheet glass, as well as a plastic or a base-coated piece. Just like the mirroring process is different for each of these, the cleaning process will be different as well. There are some guidelines to keep in mind regardless of the type of cleaning you're doing. First off, you can see I'm working here on my cleaning mat. This is a really good tool to have on hand because what it does is it gives me a designated space in my shop that I know is only to be used for cleaning my piece. Also, you can certainly use tap water during the cleaning process, and we recommend that you use hot tap water because the cleaners will be most effective when combined with hot water. Now, regardless of the cleaning process you're doing, you'll always want to make sure that you finish up with a good rinse of your distilled, deionized, or reverse osmosis water. For more information about water purity and to make sure that your water is pure enough for the mirroring process, check out the info page on our website. Let's go ahead and get to cleaning. First, I'm going to start with my blown glass piece. Now, if this piece had been freshly blown, chances are I would not need to clean it. I'd still want to, of course, rinse it very well with my distilled water. But this is a piece I've had sitting around in the shop waiting to be worked on, and so I do want to take the time to clean it. For a blown glass piece, the one cleaner we recommend is the cleaner concentrate liquid. What I've got here is my 8-ounce cup that I filled with some nice hot tap water, and I put just a couple of drops of that cleaner liquid in my water and mixed it up. My opening here is pretty small, so I'm going to use my funnel here to help me pour these cleaner in. There we go. And I can cap it off with my thumb here, and I'm going to let it roll all over the surface, making sure that it has the opportunity to reach the full surface of the inside of my glass container. Now, each one of the cleaners that we sell is a very safe product and can certainly be poured down your drain without any concern. So once you feel like you've got a nice clean surface on the inside, you can go ahead and pour that out. You can do your first rinse here with some hot tap water. And then, as I said, you always want to make sure you go behind it with some distilled water. What I'm using here is my pump spray bottle, and regardless of the type of mirroring you're doing, it's a good thing to have on hand. Now, I wanted to mention too, when you're mirroring a blown glass piece, it's a good idea to get the piece itself warmed up a bit just by running it under some hot tap water, so that when you pour in your hot cleaning water, it doesn't have the ability to crack your piece. Now, you really can't rinse it too much, and distilled water is a pretty cheap thing to have on hand, so it's always a good idea to rinse a bit more than a bit less. So on to our sheet glass. Now, sheet glass is the most versatile when it comes to cleaning. Any one of our cleaners would work well. One of the key differences between blown glass and sheet glass is that I do not recommend that you use cerium oxide to clean the inside of a blown glass piece, but it's a very good thing to use for a flat glass. First, I'm going to start with my cleaning powder. Now for this, I'm going to use my European sponge. This sponge is nice and soft and doesn't have any kind of abrasive that's going to affect or scratch my glass. I'm going to wet my piece down really nicely here. Just like mirroring, cleaning is a very wet process. And I've got my cleaning powder here. Once again, this is also very concentrated, so I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on the surface and get to scrubbing. You want to make sure when you're scrubbing your piece that you're using nice firm pressure. You also want to make sure that you're taking time to cover the whole piece. I found when I first started mirroring that the middle of my piece, the inside of my piece, was really nice and bright, and I was very happy with it. But I noticed my edges were kind of frayed, and they just didn't look as crisp as I wanted them to. And it turned out the reason was that I wasn't taking the time to really clean those edges and those corners. So what I like to do is go around with some firm circular movements, really working that cleaning powder into the surface. And I also like to go along the edges just to make sure every part of my glass here is clean. Now once you feel like that piece is fully cleaned, you can go ahead and rinse it. Now with the powder, you do want to make sure that you're also physically wiping it off the surface. Once again, using that sponge, just rubbing it off so that I don't have any of those powder particles left behind on the glass. Now, once I've rinsed it, I'm ready to move on to my cerium oxide. Once again, I want a nice wet surface. And for this, I'm going to be using my maple felt polisher. As you can see, my polisher here has gotten a lot of use. It's well loved. It's a very durable tool to have. And it's 100% real wool, which means it's also not going to scratch my glass. If you use a synthetic wool, it may scratch a softer glass. So keep that in mind. Now, what I'm looking for here is a kind of thin pinky milk. So I've got my surface wet here. I'm sprinkling a little bit of my cerium oxide. And I'm also going to get my polisher here nice and wet with some hot tap water. Now, just like I did with my sponge, I'm going to really rub this polishing compound into my glass in a nice, firm, circular movement. You really do want firm pressure because what this is doing is polishing the surface of the glass. If you go too gentle, it's not going to be effective. And as you can tell from me, the way that I know that I'm getting good firm pressure is my table is even shaking a little bit here. Now I have polished the full top surface here. I've gotten into my corners, nice firm pressure. Now I'm going to go to rinse off. And just like we did with the cleaner powder, we want to physically remove it by wiping the surface. Now I want to once again go behind it with some distilled water, rinsing it very well. Now I know my piece is nice and clean when the water is just sheeting off of the surface. And I can see that's happening now. I'm really happy with how nice and clean this looks. I can tell I don't have any powder particles left in my glass, and I'm ready to go. Last but not least is our plastic or base coated piece. Now, if you have base coated a piece, you want to make sure that that base coat is eligible to be cleaned. A lot of base coats out on the market say that you can't even touch them, let alone clean them. However, my piece has been base coated with our Clear Uni-coat. I've let it dry the 24 hours required, and I can certainly touch it and clean it as needed. And in fact, we recommend that you clean it because once again, you want your piece as clean as possible to really help in that brilliant shine as well as your adhesion. If you're going to be mirroring right over a plastic piece, then you may want to wipe down the surface with a gentle cloth and a little bit of alcohol to remove any of the mold release that might have been used in forming your plastic piece. So here's my piece here. Once again, using a European sponge that I've got nice and wet. I'm just putting a few drops of my cleaner liquid here and rubbing it over the surface. Now, oftentimes, if you're using a plastic piece or a base coated piece, it's going to have crevices and corners like mine does. So if that's the case for you, you want to make sure that you really take the time to clean every area. Now, once you feel like you've gotten all of the areas covered, you can rinse it off with your tap water. And then, yep, you guessed it, we're going to go behind it and rinse with distilled water. Now you'll notice with your plastic piece, your water is not sheeting off of the surface. And for more information about what to do with that, check out our quick tip on wetting agent. So there we have it. 3 different types of pieces. All can be mirrored and all are nice, clean, and ready to go. Please leave a comment below if you have any additional questions or ideas on quick tips you'd like to see. Be sure to subscribe to our channel to be notified of other videos, and check out our website for more information about the different cleaning products available. Thanks.